What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Life at Disney podcast Disney College Program miniseries. I'm Holly.
And I'm Josiah, and I have to be honest, although I'm always very excited to be here, I feel like Holly is taking that to another level for this episode specifically.
Oh yeah, we got a special episode today with a special focus in marketing.
But not only that, we've got some special guests for today too. Tell us about them.
We have a Disney College Program participant who is studying marketing, as well as a Disney College Program alum who is working in marketing. It's a match made in heaven.
Look, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. So we're super excited to introduce you to both Chris and Kayla. Chris is a current Disney College Program participant who works merchandise at the Creation Shop and Club Cool at Epcot, and he also studied marketing at the University of Arizona.
And Kayla is a manager on Disney's talent acquisition marketing team, but before that, she's a Disney College Program alum where she worked as a character attendant. She's also my boss, so I have to be on my best behavior today. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Yay, thank you. So stoked to be here.
We're very excited to have you here. So we're going to start with you, Kayla. So thinking about this full experience of going from the program all the way to where you are now, just what has it been like?
Well, to start, it's been over 10 years now. I think 12 years since my college program, 12 years with Disney. So my whole career has been with Disney. My resume it's just like a sheet of paper that's just like Disney, 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 Disney. And it looks like I've done nothing, but it's actually tons of different jobs within Disney because there's so much variety here. But when I look at my career, all the different places I've been, all the different skills I've obtained, I wouldn't be where I am now without my time on the Disney College Program. Genuinely, like, it's not just I believe, I know I wouldn't be here without starting at the Disney College Program. So I don't know how else to summarize 12 years, 13 years with Disney, but that's where I'm going to start.
Awesome. And then, Chris, what about you? Tell us a little bit about how you became a participant on the college program.
So I always wanted to be an Imagineer, like every other person on the world. Yeah. And then one day I went to college and I started studying creative writing because I wanted to be a lyricist. And I was thinking one day, I was like, this is not going to make me an Imagineer. Luckily, I got an opportunity with our local marketing team through the school, and I started getting more into marketing. And in my college, one of my professors was like, hey, I know, like you've mentioned before, you have a great passion for Disney. You want to be an Imagineer. Have you heard about the college program? And I went, nope. And he goes, yeah, like it happens. There's one at that time there was one in California, one in Florida. He's like, if I were you, go to California. It's near. We had the whole pandemic happen and everything shut down. It didn't come back. And one day I was sitting at home and I was like, you know what? I've survived a lot. I've been through a lot. Let's just go to Florida. And I just applied one random Tuesday morning, and now I'm here.
A nice little windy journey there a little bit.
Yeah.
That's funny because I'm from the West Coast too, and I did my college program in Florida as well. Yeah. Like, we trekked across the country.
California's too easy.
Yes.
It's too close.
Exactly.
You wanted a challenge, something a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How has the experience been, like moving all the way across the country and living in Florida?
It's been amazing. I had high expectations, and they just surpassed it. It's not only the place where we're at, it's the people we're at. And even I feel like Disney World is so big and complex in its own way that I even got lucky enough to get placed in my opinion, one of the most important big boxes in Disney World with one of the most amazing teams of leaders and managers. And it just, I learned something new every day. So it's awesome.
That's so amazing.
I'm excited to get into all this because there's so many things in there to kind of talk about. For you, Kayla, what was it that initially drew you to Disney in the program?
How much time do you have? I've always been a Disney kid, but my sort of like origin story specifically was when I was 6 years old, we went to Disneyland and I met Snow White during the day, and my dad was like, tell her you're seeing Fantasmic tonight. So I was like, ah. And Snow White was like, oh my gosh, I will see you there. And then later that night, we were watching Fantasmic and Snow White waved to me. And I was like, she knew. She remembered me. Like, this is Disney magic. Like, to me as a child, that was the epitome of what this experience was about. And so at the end of the show, I was 6 years old, Show ended. I turned to my dad and I said, I'm going to work for Disney. Like, I'm going to be a part of this. And I never wavered. So my entire life, every single thing I did was to get me here. So that's kind of like how it started. I was in 7th grade when I Googled the college program for the first time. And then I was a sophomore in college when I actually did it. But that was all part of my grand plan that I knew I was going to do. I also knew that I wanted to do it in Florida because I'm Californian and I'd gone to Disneyland so many times. And I had it in my head. I was like, I'm actually going to have Disney pay me to go to Disney World versus me paying them. So I came to Disney World, worked here, and learned the whole ecosystem of Walt Disney World, which, as Chris mentioned, is just, it's like complicated compared to Disneyland. There's so much here. There's so many resorts. There's water parks. There's mini golf. There's so many more parks. Like, it's just so big. So learning that ecosystem and learning even more about how Disney worked on the back end, I realized like this is where I want to make my career.
At that point, was it an intentional choice to like, I want to learn all these different aspects, or did it just happen naturally and you gravitated towards it?
I would say personally, I'm sort of an intense type of person that makes choices. Like everything in my life has happened because I said it was going to happen and then I did it. That being said, something that's really great about Disney is the relationship aspect. And when you're on the college program or, early career, there's so many opportunities that are presented to you that you can grab. Like you can lean in and learn more. So I think I made the choice to invest in myself and in my career, but Disney also enabled it and made it easier.
I love that at 6 years old you had a concept of a job. Like that's crazy. I don't think I had a concept of work at 6.
My dad thought it was crazy too. He was like, "Great, okay."
It's very you. That's very Kayla. I kind of want to do a little compare and contrast because Kayla, your college program was 10-ish years ago.
Yeah.
Chris, you're currently a participant. And of course, the college program has evolved and changed over that time a little bit. So Kayla, can you start with kind of an overview of what your experience was like, and then Chris will go to you and what your experience is like.
I was a character attendant, so my role was really awesome because I was statused in one location. So I was statused at Magic Kingdom. That's where probably 80% of my shifts were. But I could pick up at all of the different locations, so it was sort of like a cross-training situation. So I got to work in all 4 parks. I was able to, when I wasn't working, we would spend our evenings playing in the parks. I tried like every single theme park snack on the planet. There was no Disney Springs when I was a college programmer, which is crazy. It was downtown Disney back in the day, so we would spend a lot of time there. I have a lot of memories in those places. We checked out all the resorts. I don't know, I think the biggest thing was just the friendships. Like, you were just constantly surrounded by friends. And these are friends I still have in my life. Like, I am getting married in June, and I have college program friends from 2013 coming to my wedding.
And then, Chris, what about you? Are there any similarities there, differences?
So many. I think just the fact that I also status in creations, we get Club Cool as well. So we work those 2 locations. But we are merchandise, so we get to pick up any other merchandise location, such as Emporium or Traders, or it could even be in one of the resorts if you get some specialized training. But yeah, most of my free time, I'm spending it with my friends, maybe going to do Guardians. We do Epcot a lot. We work there and we spend our whole life there. We'll do Festival of the Holidays, Food and Wine, all of the festivals, and once in a while we'll go and enjoy a nice Casey's hot dog watching Happily Ever After. I think that's my favorite hobby, just like Casey's hot dog and Happily Ever After.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. The case when you sit like on the hub grass with your little hot dog. Yes.
We did not have hub grass, but we had the corn dog bites and wishes, and we would just sit on the curb. We would just like corn dog because there was no hub grass. It's a level up there.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
A little glow up, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the glow up on your side too, one of the things that you didn't have access to, Kayla, was Flamingo Crossings Village at the same time. So what is kind of that comparison and contrast of like your experience versus yours in housing?
Right. So Flamingo Crossings it's its own town, in my opinion. There's 2. So there's East and West. It's a little community. It's created this environment where it's so open and free and so safe for you to just always have something to do, where it feels very new because the buildings are quite new, but it also feels very home-like, so it allows us to be feeling comfortable. People come and go all the time. We have the community center, which has the TVs, the gym. You go ahead and have the pool. You have some basketball courts. There's always something to do there.
Like Josiah said, I did not have Flamingo Crossings Village. Way back in the day, we had a few different housing complexes that were dispersed around the Lake Buena Vista area. And everyone who lived in the complexes were participants. But I think what Flamingo Crossings Village has, from what I've been able to learn about it through my work, is that sense of community that you're talking about. Like, everyone's in one place. All the activities are in one place. All the events and learning opportunities are all centralized in the same place that you live. Whereas we were getting on buses and trying to get, like, one of my friends lived 2 miles down. You had to get on a bus, go over there. And then if we wanted to do a learning opportunity, it was in another place and we would get on another bus and go over there. But I will also tell you, when we started touring Flamingo Crossings Village, when it was like just about to open, the way Disney College Program alumni on these tours were like flabbergasted. Like, I mean, jaws were on the floor. Y'all are living in luxury. Like, that place is beautiful. I can't, and it's just like, it's aesthetically stunning. There's so much there for you. Your pool, it's nuts. The gym, it's nuts. Like, we didn't have any of that, and that, you know, our experience was amazing. I loved it. Probably would have loved it even more if we had Flamingo Crossings Village, not gonna lie.
Okay, so I want to dive into the actual program experience. So Chris, can you tell me what has been your favorite part of the program so far? And then Kayla, a little trip down memory lane. What was your favorite part?
So one of my favorite parts is that I'm a very hyper and energetic person, right? My brain never stops going, to the point where every time that there's a festival at Epcot, I'm like, can you guys schedule me the full day?
Oh, you
Just
like the
give me-
chaos.
Oh yeah. And it's something, there's something about like being there when it all starts to when it all ends, and it's seeing from start to finish, just how everyone's so excited to get there, and then at the end of the day they're still excited, but they're so tired to be there. And you know, sometimes even helping set up for the festival and getting that merchandise up, working with visual, is just so amazing. And being able to get those opportunities to interact with those guests at festival launch is just uncomparable.
What's your favorite festival at Epcot?
Well, I really like food and wine, but the first time I ever came to Epcot, I did flower and garden. So it's my favorite because it holds a really special place in my heart. I still haven't worked it because we haven't gotten to it yet. It starts next week, but I'm counting down the days. I literally go in at 5 a.m. that day.
Oh my god.
I'm going to help prep, and I'm going to work again all day and just watch everything happen. Hopefully it'll only make my experience even better.
It's very like an only at Disney type experience. Like, the excitement that we have around our festivals and these huge launches and all the exclusive experiences and merchandise, you can only do that here, right?
Oh, yeah. I've never had anywhere where I've felt this excited to go to work.
That's so good. I think very similar to Chris, mine really is around those exclusive moments. So actually, when Chris was like, I want to work all day, I worked the last 24-hour day that Disney World did. And it was a wild experience. So I was working, I think at like 4 a.m. at some point during that day. But it was really cool because it was like, what is going on here? And yet I am here. And I still have the t-shirt for, I think it was One More Disney Day or something. I still have the t-shirt from working that. And later in an internship, I got to support, other limited time experiences. And I think that those like that limited time magic of, even though there'll be Flower and Garden next year, it's like this theme is for this year. And so you become very attached to the fact that you got to help bring that to life. And I think we also had limited time magic with like character appearances during my college program, and I was a character attendant. So it was also really cool to be able to, yes, I worked the classic Magic Kingdom shifts. Like I got to work with the princesses, my favorite, Mickey Mouse. Like I got to work with Merida back in the day, but also Chicken Little.
Sorry.
Yes. There were just these like random characters that were coming out for limited time magic, and you're just sitting here knowing, yes, this is day in my life, but I don't know when Chicken Little's going to decide to come back to Disney World, but I am here with him right now. And that was just like really, really fun. And it makes for great stories.
You both have these specific memories and moments, but also like these skill sets that are unique to you, right? You talked about being a lyricist and things that you notice in the parks. And what are some of those things that within your time, that just within the things that you're interested in, you're like, I didn't notice this, but now I picked that out?
It's funny you ask that, because something, and it happened during December-ish, the holidays. I have a marketing background, as mentioned. And sometimes when we are halfway through our festivals or towards the end of our days, at the later part of the festivals, our merchandise becomes scarce. And I had a leader come up to me and he goes, "Hey, I want you to look at that wall and just do whatever you want with it." Whoa. And he goes, and I go, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah, go for it. Like, just arrange it however you would do it." And I was like, okay. And to me, we had, and this is something I learned also from opening festivals, how many places we should have a certain merchandise item and such. And I went, I'll just make it look aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I'll just make it look pretty and I'll go. And you see me just rearranging a wall of merchandise, just pulling ears, throwing ears up, pulling Loungefly, throwing other Loungefly up. And that's when I realized, wow, like, although I'm not someone has that as much knowledge in merchandise as other people here, although it's something that I didn't specialize in, it got to a point where I looked at that wall and I was like, I'm proud of this. At the end of the night, that leader also came back and said, you know what, that wall, I'm pretty sure, got a lot of these ears out there more because we had them in this little hidden area. Great job. He just said, "Great job, Chris, you did great." And I felt like, I don't know, like someone just gave me $1 million. It was amazing.
I think that's also just such a great story of, at Disney, we always say, like, everyone's a leader, not just if you're a boss or a manager. And it's like, you might not have been a storefront designer or things like that, but you were able to bring your skills and you had leadership that was supportive of that. And you were able to make an impact on the business. And that's so cool, especially being a college program participant.
Yeah. Never expected it.
Yeah. Did you have any moments like that where you were able to?
Well, I think one of the things that is tough about being a character attendant, and I say this with all the love in my heart for that role, it was, again, one of my favorite times of my whole life, but I didn't work with a team all the time. I had other character attendants that I worked with, but when I was out supporting one of our Disney characters, quite often I was alone. So a lot of what I did was very focused around, like, live time, critical thinking, and improvisation. You have such bizarre moments that come up. So one time we were outside working with Snow White and a bird decided it had to go potty in the line on a child. And so suddenly my role is supporting Snow White, but also trying to help this child who is having a meltdown. The parents are having a meltdown. Snow White is like, "Oh my goodness," over there. And you're just like, holy, and you're the only person. Because Snow White needs to focus on those guest interactions. And you have to make sure that everyone else's experience is still positive while they're waiting for their moment with Snow White. So that was a lot of what I did. So I think the skills that I was building was like confidence, public speaking. I was talking to, Mickey Mouse's line can sometimes be 3 hours. He's a very popular mouse, and you have to manage that line. You have to keep that line warm. You have to make sure that those guests feel like they are valued, even while they're spending 3 hours of their day during their vacation waiting in line to meet this mouse. Is it worth it? Absolutely. He's Mickey Mouse. But I am there to make sure that they know it's worth it every step of the way. And I think because of that, I am able to do things like this and come on and just talk and feel comfortable with myself, because if I can do this on Main Street USA while a parade is going, I can do this anywhere.
Okay, so I feel like we've kind of established how the program can set you up with those soft skills, pushing you out of your comfort zone to try things that maybe you didn't, they're not part of the job description, just something new. So Kayla, I'm going to start with you. Can you walk me through your Disney journey after the college program?
Yes. Okay, so I am a Disney Early Careers programs baby, basically. So I did the Disney College program. I did it when I was a sophomore in college. So I had to go back to school. I couldn't just transition into full-time, part-time, or another role because I was not done with my education. So I went back to school to finish my degree. But during my junior year, I applied to the Disney Interns internship program. And I actually applied my junior year because I had heard that a lot of times folks are able to get an internship their senior year, and then they are able to network and potentially find career opportunities for after graduation. So I wanted the recruiter to know my name. I wanted them to be familiar with me when I got to my senior year. So I applied my junior year, and I ended up getting an offer, which kind of threw my plan off kilter, but who cares? When you get an internship offer from Disney, you pack your car up and you drive to Florida. And that is what I did. So I was a graphic design intern at Yellow Shoes, which is basically the in-house marketing agency for Disney experiences based in Florida, Celebration, Florida. So I moved to Celebration, Florida from California, and I spent 6 months doing graphic design work that was seen by millions of people. I specifically specialized in social media design, and this was back in 2014. Social media was very, very different then. It was very organic based, and so we were able to post something on the Walt Disney World Disneyland accounts, and you would get a reach of 15 million people with like no payment. Like that was how it worked. So it was really awesome because I was making content that then my friends back home would see or interact with, repost, having no idea that I made it. The Disney College Program gave me that foundation of understanding the company values, being able to walk into that career, having really, really in-depth knowledge of the parks, which I was now selling in marketing. You know, I had to tell the story of the theme park experience and the guest experience, and luckily I lived it every single day as a Disney College Program participant. And from there, I did another graphic design internship on the team I'm at now, which is talent acquisition marketing, and I jumped from graphic design to communications to account management and project management, all the way to being a leader, which is where I am now. And again, the Disney College Program gave me that foundation of the company heritage, the history, the values, as well as all the soft skills of being able to lead, having confidence, knowing my own voice, and the importance of storytelling, which really is that common thread through everything we do at Disney, no matter if you're on the college program or if you are Bob Iger. Bob Iger could talk about the importance of storytelling, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, Chris, we kind of talked about this off camera, but you have a very clear direction that you want to take with your life. How do you feel the Disney College Program is helping to inform that, or what do you hope to learn to get there?
So my whole life, I've done a lot of different roles, whether it be helping the marketing team back home in school with copy, videography, and even international logistics. But I always feel like each role I step into is not a step down or up or side. To me, it's a new branch to the tree that my life is, and it's just a new opportunity for me to learn something new from new people. And I feel like I've done that so much here with the Disney College Program. It's not only through my store, which is creations, but it's also through the leaders. We have 13 of them, and all 13 have unique views and stories and knowledge to share with us, and there's always something to learn new, and there's always new connections to make. You never know when one day you will see a random posting or get a random email about, an audition, and you'll end up on a podcast. It just happens overnight, and it's beautiful.
I love that analogy too, of like the tree with all the branches of knowledge that you're getting.
It used to be a joke back home because I used to say that a lot. And then my last name is Robles, which means oak tree in Spanish. So I didn't realize it until it was like, oh, well, that's me.
Like, that's accidentally
that's
so
even
fitting.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I am that tree.
Yes, you are.
So if we're going with this tree idea, I'm just enjoying this now. So as you think about this tree, when you're on your program, what you're doing is not necessarily directly tied to what you would want to do, but there's things that you can get out of it. So for you, Kayla, did you have this idea that you wanted to be a leader, or is that just something that just happened over time?
I think I had an idea that I wanted to move up in the company, and I think the definition of success has changed for me over the years. Like, it was very title based when I was younger because that's the very concrete goal you can make. I want to be a manager by this age or whatever. But I think what I have learned in being a leader is it's the intangible things that are really, really valuable. So the relationships I'm able to make with my team. And I think back to when I was a college program participant, and we're hearing Chris talk about his managers and the value that they're bringing to his life. Like, I can think of the managers, my very first internship leader. I can think of my college program leaders, some of them by name still. And I could think about the very specific impacts that they had on me and the lessons that they taught me. And realizing now that I'm in that position, one, is very humbling and bizarre, but also two, it's so much more fulfilling than the titles, right? So it did sort of just happen in the growing of my tree of like, these opportunities were given to me as I grew. But I am very, very thankful to have them because I think it's brings so much impact to my work. And it's really the reason why I come to work is not necessarily the product, but the people and the development and the investment in those people.
Okay, well, I guess Chris, would love to hear more about how your leaders have supported you. You told us that really cool story of getting to redesign the merch wall, which is, I don't know, that just sounds really fun. But maybe in smaller ways, how have your leaders been able to encourage you?
Absolutely. So I'm a very analytical person.
Okay.
I'm a very hands-on and analytical person. And when you work at one of the big box stores, you do get to see some of the KPIs. So the key performance indicators which pretty much tell you how the business is running, whether it be, essentially in each category of performance. So we'll have some that will be turnover, which will be how many of those people that we got in the store bought something. And then we have like traffic and so on and so forth, which is people who come in. And the first thing I did is I came knocking on that door, and I went up to one of my leaders and said, "Hey, so how do your guys' KPIs work?"
They're like, "Who are you?"
It was. I still had my earning my ears tag on my name tag, and he looks at me and he goes, "Well, do you want to look at the numbers?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "I guess I'll show you the numbers, right?" so it's being able to pick up those questions and just being able to get asked those questions and having the people that support you to answer those questions. Sometimes it's the smallest question that you could think of, but the fact that they make an environment comfortable for you to ask those questions, no matter how big or small they are, that's what brought so much value.
Yes. I feel like what you just said specifically about like having leaders that are willing to answer your questions, because you can have all the curiosity in the world and none of it matters if you're in an environment where that curiosity is stifled.
How do you, and in your case, how did you find that balance of I'm in this role right now, and at the same time, I know exactly where I want to go. So I have to focus on this one thing, but also I know like I'm itching and I'm scratching to get to that next step, right? How do you find that balance?
It's understanding that what makes the experience valuable is not the fact that you did it, it's that you're doing it, and that's and learning from it, Oh
my God, Chris is dropping wisdom over here. I wish I could have talked to you when I was doing my program. So I don't have a good answer for Josiah because I was an anxious little child. I was always stressed about what the next thing was going to be. And so I feel like my advice is almost like what not to do, because I think I would have enjoyed it so much. I did enjoy it. I would have enjoyed it more if I'd been more present and not always worried about what the next step was. So I would work myself up into just a tizzy over that. And you're right. Like the value is in the right now and the doing it. And you are building your own personal value proposition of what's important to you, where you want your life to go. You're learning about things that you like, that you don't like, and it's all happening right now. And all of that is so valuable right now. And when you are in the future, you'll look back and be like, so glad that you had those experiences. So appreciating them for what they are right now is really important. So everyone listen to Chris. He has got it down.
I feel like both of you also are just such go-getters. Like just sitting here talking to you, it's like, oh my gosh, you are like two sides of the same coin. You have two people who are like, this is, like Josiah said, like this is exactly what I want and this is how I'm gonna get there. And I agree, Chris. I think it is so special that you are able to stay in the moment, because you said something earlier where you were like, you never know what little thing is going to lead you to like doing a podcast, and like where do you go from here? Like this could lead you to something else. And something we talk about a lot at Disney is how the smallest things can open a door to some place where you were like, wow, I didn't even imagine that. But now that I've gone through this door, oh my God, am I so glad to be here. Have you had any of those experiences of like something small and innocuous where you're like, it's part of my day-to-day, and then suddenly you're like, whoa, no, that was a big decision, it turns out?
Yes. So, and I genuinely think this person was testing me. We had a guest, and they were looking at plushies, and they had an Oswald one and a Mickey one. And she comes up to me and she's like, hey, Oswald is just another Mickey, right? And I went, well, you could view it like that, but to me, he's one of Walt's, first cartoons, and it has a lot more meaning to it. She goes, oh yeah, it's cool. It's just a cartoon. We always owned it, right? I was like, well, no, but yes. And I started getting into the details of Oswald because he's one of my favorite ones. And he started telling her how Disney used to own it, but then he didn't, and then he went off. But then later on, and we were able to make a deal where we got him back. And to me, Oswald means a lot because if you don't fail, you won't succeed, and that's what Oswald represents to me. It's like a little trophy, a little showcase of look how far we've come and how much we've achieved. And it's all because of a mouse, but there was a rabbit behind that gave us that look,
Behind every strong mouse is a rabbit.
Yeah. And as soon as I stopped talking for 30 minutes to this guest, she looks at me and goes, thank you so much. And she pulls out a little slip on her bag, and it had this little note, and it had a little candy. She's like, I appreciate you. And I was like, oh, nice. And to me, it seemed like it was just any other day. I went backstage. I looked at that slip with the candy. I turned it around. It was someone from the leadership and innovation team for Disney. And I almost wanted to run back out there and be like, wait, can I get your LinkedIn? And, I was like, but yeah, it's those small things that you never realize how big of a difference you're making to someone. And it could be anyone, because anyone and everyone is in our parks.
And you were just doing your job.
Yeah.
And look what
You're
happened.
doing it well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like when I think about that in my life, I mentioned I was a designer and then social, and how I've just done all these different functions within marketing. But I grew up being like, I'm being a designer for Disney. I never wanted to sway. Got into my first Disney internship, and my leader sat me down and said, I know you're a designer and that your role is to create the content that we're going to post on these pages, like truly like memes, you guys. Back in the day, just simple memes. But he said, do you want to run and lead the annual pass holders Facebook page? And he said, it's not in your job description. You do not have to say yes. And I said, yeah, like, why not? And that was my first introduction to the business of social, the business of marketing, the business of selling, understanding that you have key stakeholders across the theme park business. You're working with operations, you're working with sales, you're working with the higher ups in pricing who are getting feedback on all of these different deals. You're working to meet numbers. You have goals for each quarter, goals for each week. And is very different from running my own personal Instagram in college where I just posted selfies, right? And that, yes, was my introduction to the entire business world that then set me on a trajectory to not be a designer at all for the rest of my career, basically. And I never expected that. And if I had said no, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I probably wouldn't have all the experiences that I've had. I probably would have different ones and they would probably just be great. But I'd be a designer right now. And I was introduced to the business and strategy, and I loved it, and never would have guessed that it would have led me here, just because a leader believed that I could do it and then offered me the opportunity as an intern, as an early career employee at Disney.
Yeah. And I think that also kind of ties back to what Chris was saying too, of like embracing each moment. And in that moment, you told yourself, like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do it.
Oh, yeah. I was literally like, this feels insane, but yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Chris, you said something that I think is worth exploring too. So you talked about that moment that Walt had that, could be seen as a failure and turning it into something else. So for you guys, how did you handle and how have you handled these moments of that didn't go well, but I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep pushing?
Something I don't struggle with, but something that I always do is that I get in my head a lot. And something in my day-to-day, it's am I doing the best I can to give everyone else my best product and my best performance. At the end of the day, something I learned, and it's something I learned really recently, it's not about doing what is expected. It's about going above and beyond to make sure everyone else is taken care of. And as long as you're doing the right thing and going above and beyond to take care of everyone, that's how you'll prevail.
I think one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was that nobody's perfect, including myself. Chris, it sounds like you hold yourself to a really high standard at work and in life, probably. I can relate to that. So I think my personal horror story that I had, and I always tell my team when there's an oopsie, I'm like, trust me, we've all been there. I made a graphic for the Walt Disney World Facebook page that featured a lyric from a song in Beauty and the Beast. And I got the lyric wrong. And it was not caught in approvals. And it went live. And if you can imagine, I don't know, an easy 2,000 comments saying, fire this person, they clearly know nothing. They don't represent the Disney brand, and you're an intern. And I cried. I sobbed. It was taken down immediately. My leaders were like, we've all done it. And in that moment, though, you literally, like, I have let down Walt Disney. I am the problem, is that feeling. And I've had team members who have done similarly in my time as a leader. And I think learning that you're human and also using those experiences in the future to be able to talk to your team members and say, like, hey, I've done this too. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad cast member. It doesn't mean I'm a bad employee. It doesn't mean that I won't be successful and then I won't have a career. Like, you can have all of that and still make mistakes, and you can still be valuable. It does not define you in any way. And you just kind of have to breathe through it and know that there will be moments of just utter horror, and then the sun will still come up the next day. And Walt Disney World will still be here. Like, I am not the reason why the parks don't open. They're still here.
We have a saying in our office right now. It's just, it ain't that deep. Like,
it really isn't.
Not, like,
but at the same time, you have that standard of quality. Like, we're going to show up every single day, the absolute best that we can be. But we are human. And that is a good thing, because it means that we're bringing the emotion and the passion to this work. And that's what makes Disney so special. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I would never want a robot doing our jobs. Like, I know that Chris is making a bigger difference at his merchandise location as a human being than a robot would, right? But we're not going to be perfect. There's human error.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like a more cynical way to put it, I remember I had a similar meltdown over something and I had to call my father. And I was like, they're going to fire me and I'm a terrible person. And he goes, you're just not important enough to bring down the entire Walt Disney Company. And I was like, you're right. It's okay. So, sometimes you got to think about it a different way. Not in a mean way, not that you're not important. It's okay. You can make a difference where you are. And then if you mess up, learn from it.
That's the important part, is the learning from it. And so every time I've made a mistake, and I still make mistakes, they're not the same mistakes I made in the past, because I learned from those. And so I'm going to continue making new ones. Like, I'm a leader now, but I'm a fairly young and new leader. I mess up all the time, but I learn from it.
Yeah. And in your situation, so you're leading, you're managing, you've got a million things on your mind, while trying to also make sure everyone underneath you and with you is okay. How do you take care of you?
Ooh, good question. I'm a Pilates girl. I go to Pilates like every single day. That is literally one of the main ways I take care of me. It is my quiet reconnect with my body and my mind. I also am very fortunate to live in a place that makes me very happy. So going for walks in the woods by my house really helps. Connecting with my family, connecting with my wife, literally it fills my cup every single day. And I think another big thing is looking for ways I can fill my cup while also filling my team's cup. So looking for ways to connect with my team. So if I'm not Orlando local, we're on a podcast set in Orlando. I've been spending a lot of time with the people on my team to ensure that we're connecting, that they feel supported, that they feel like I'm present in their lives, even if I am actually a West Coast Disney employee. And then I think the basics, it sounds so basic, but get enough sleep, drink enough water, and eat 3 meals and get sunshine. And it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, go touch some grass.
Yes.
I've gotten that advice from Kayla before. She's like, I'll be like freaking out about
get
something.
Get off this Zoom and go touch grass.
She's like, literally go to the pond outside of where you live and can you sit there for 5 minutes and then come back? And I'm like, yes. And you know what? It does help. So what do you know?
I'm a big proponent of being outside. It makes us all better. Reconnects us. It is that deep outside.
It is. You're like, oh, this is what matters. Yeah. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit into marketing. And Chris, I want to start with you. You said you started school pursuing creative writing. How did that lead you into marketing?
At one point at creative writing, my first language wasn't English, it was Spanish. And although I have the most knowledge or studied the most English in school growing up, I felt more comfortable with Spanish because it's what we spoke at home. And if I was going to be a lyricist, I wanted to write in Spanish, in my home language, my natural language. And it got to a point where I just lost that passion for creative writing because I was doing it in English in the US. And one day, while I was trying to find my passion again, I saw that there was a posting in my school for the marketing team to help with copy. And I was like, all right, I've studied enough writing that I should be able to do this as a side thing. And I went in there, and at first it was just going into meetings saying, what are we going to write for this? Maybe a post, maybe a small marketing plan that we had. And I kind of got exposed to that world of, all right, we do have, business to business. Well, how would we write this? All right, we're trying to reach out to our students. How would we write this? And I noticed how broad it was. And eventually, one of our professors had his own local advertising agency, and he said, hey, I know that you're hardworking. Do you want to try videography? And I said, yes. Something I struggle with is saying no. So I just kept saying yes. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And he's like, awesome. And I did videography with him for a bit. And then he's like, do you want to do copy for us since you already do? And I was like, yes. How about social media? Yes. And it got to a point where I eventually went to another advertising agency, did social media management for them across the country for malls. Very, very cool. Malls have a lot more content that you'd think. And then from there, I went ahead and went to another beverage company and then went ahead and helped with activation marketing. And from there, I went to marketing coordinating. And finally, once I did that, I got really big into analytical. And I ended up doing some international logistics administration. But I always had that little niche, that little rock in my shoe that I needed to go do marketing. I loved it. It's a rabbit hole that I went into and that I'm very glad I did. I learned so much and did so much thanks to it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite part? Like you talked about the analytics, the creative. Do you have a part you prefer?
It's really hard for me to choose one part because when I did activations, it was going out there and being hands-on with, what we're going to put in certain billboards, what stuff we're going to put to promote. Are we doing an inflatable? Okay, what product are we pushing? Which numbers support what sales we need, what product we're going to push. But then as much as I like being there hands-on, I also like being the guy in the background being like, okay, what demographics are we reaching with this product? All right, how are we going to reach these demographics? Which campaign is best suited for this? Oh, okay. Now that we got the demographics, how are we going to geofence this if it's social media? Okay, where are the best places to go? So I like to think that's why my end goal is a lot of marketing brand management or marketing strategy, because I see myself, and I guess in Disney terms, working with Yellow Shoes all the way up to, social media programs, everyone. I like having that understanding of everything that's happening.
Wow. That's wildly impressive. Everything you just said.
I can imagine people are listening and writing down geofence.
Y'all hear it?
What does it mean?
Wow. Have you already graduated?
Hopefully next May.
Next May. Dang. Hearing that from a student perspective, you are well ahead of the game, even in experience, but also just in knowledge. What you're talking about.
Do you want my resume?
I was gonna say. So for everybody listening and watching at home, as a company, we're encouraged to do meet and greets where you talk to people, get to know what they're doing, and just kind of explore the company. what you're experiencing right now is like a meet and greet happening in real time.
Literally, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to give everyone an idea who's listening, when I was an intern, I think I managed to meet, there's pretty much no one in marketing and design at Disney that I did not know by the end of my internship because of the meet and greets I did. And to Josiah's point, it's this just very organic getting to know each other. It's not for no purpose other than to learn about the people you work with. And that was like a really cool pitch.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, okay.
Thank you.
Well, I feel like the other half of it too is you came in so prepared, like you had your experience, you had numbers, you have things you want to learn about. And that's something, on the Disney College program, when we have like the learning opportunities and stuff, you learn about networking. And that's one of the things that you learn is like, you can't just go in and vibe, although that is a big part of it, is like vibing, because it's relationship building, but it's also, this is Disney. So you come with your best foot forward and you make whoever you're meeting, you let them know, like, this is what I want and here's how I'm prepared for it.
In short, learning how to advocate for yourself.
Yes, exactly. If you're not a yapper like me, that's exactly how you say
Yeah, so
it.
learning how to, what Chris just did, sharing the skills that you've obtained and then the ways that they can be applied to whatever business or company that you're interested in working at, and having the confidence to do it. And I think that confidence piece, I keep coming back to it, but the Disney College program, my gosh, it gives you the confidence to be able to go out there and know that you are a value add to this company, but also that there's no one you can't talk to, because when you're talking to a random guest, they might be someone in leadership already. Yeah. And you had no idea.
Yep.
I think with just the word marketing by itself, like that's so big and so much. And then especially thinking about Disney and all the different aspects of even just Walt Disney World alone, right? How you're marketing that. How did you, coming into this program and then afterwards, figure out what the Disney way is for marketing?
I feel like I personally hit a wall when I came here because I was so excited to learn everything that I did exactly that. I tried learning everything. And then, slowly I learned, take it day by day, enjoy it a bit. And I've got to do some meet and greets. I've spoken to you before. I know that I saw you in one of the learning sessions, just got to know what you do. It's really hard to explain what marketing is in Disney because there's so many different branches and so many different things that there are that it could literally be from National Geographic to Walt Disney World to Walt Disney Company. And it revolves so much that it's so complex that it's quite interesting.
I don't know why you guys have me here because Chris knows it all. Like normally this is what I have to explain in meet and greets when someone says like, I want to do marketing at Disney. I start asking let's dive a little deeper, but he has done the research. I would add though, even in your example, it was like marketing at Walt Disney World. I think it would shock people how many marketing teams we have at Walt Disney World alone. You have teams that might be supporting our festivals. You have teams that are supporting group sales, conferences. Disney Weddings is going to have their own marketing team. You have teams for recruitment at Walt Disney World, which is, what some of my team does. So it is so broad. And I think that is what makes things like the Disney College program and Disney internships so valuable, is that you're able to join the company, get to know people in an internship, maybe even work on some of those teams and learn what resonates with you and maybe what doesn't. And it is totally okay if something doesn't. Like I have worked on quite a few teams at Disney and some of them were not a good fit for me. And that's totally fine. But I was able to figure that out in something like an internship and then settle into a career on a team that it's a really, really great fit for me. And I think that variety at Disney gives you the options to say, hey, maybe I want to try marketing at ESPN. And then you realize I'm not a sports girl. I think I actually don't want to do marketing at ESPN. That's fine. But we have the variety to grow your career in so many different directions here.
Something else that, we talked about advocating for yourself. I think another way to think of that is like marketing yourself to other people. I think you both have experience with that from what we've talked about so far. What is your advice on when you are meeting someone new or having a guest interaction, whatever it is, how do you market yourself to that person?
Personally, I feel like there's a lot to me and a lot that I've done in my life and a lot of people that I've met and a lot of places in the world that I've learned that the best thing to do with someone is just genuinely be there and and not only listen to them, but understand them, right? Because something that I like to be is approachable. And if I can't be approachable with others, I feel like it's what's the point of talking to others, right? I like to be the person that says, why are you doing that? Are you okay? I get you. I understand you. And, you know, support these people. So I like to, you know, bring my genuine self to the table and let them know, hey, I'm not here as someone that's going to be in your way. I'm going to be here as someone that's going to give you my hand to help you, you know, if you need anything.
I love that. I'm like obsessed with every single one of your answers. There's so many incredible people in this company, and there's so many stories that you'll hear. But when someone is able to truly tell a story of who they are, what's important to them, and what drives them, what their goals are, but it's in a story that connects with its audience, it becomes memorable. You become memorable. And I think the skill of learning how to tell your own story is invaluable.
Yeah. I think a lot of people see marketing as like kind of an opportunity to be creative, but with so many limitations or like rules to follow and whatever. And being around people like that, I mean, yes, some of that is true, but also you see so much creativity in it. Can you talk a little bit about that, of like how you're able to express your creative side and kind of flex those creative genes in what you do?
Josiah, you're making me like want to like jump it. When you were like limitations, I was like, don't think about it that way.
Yeah.
I think of marketing as data-driven storytelling with an objective. I would encourage no one to ever think of it as limitations, but as challenges. These are creative challenges. It's problem solving. It is having your numbers, your analytics, your data that is driving you towards a well-informed solution for a challenge. And in that, you get to be creative.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like I've come to a place where I've learned where there's need, there's growth, because you'll figure out a way. And in marketing, it's a lot about not only following what the trends are, but it's understanding what is needed and how you can innovate it. And again, it's something that I learned here, as well as how you go above and beyond when innovating. How can you not only join into whatever the trend is, but is expand on it? And how can we include everyone? Make sure that everyone not only has a seat at the table, but gets an opportunity to be heard at that table, you know? And
Yes.
it's beautiful.
Yes!
Yeah.
Chris, I love what you said about making sure that everyone has a seat at the table. At Disney, obviously storytelling is huge. It's what we do. How do you make sure that through storytelling, and this is really for both of you, how do you make sure through storytelling, through marketing, that you are representing the diverse audiences that you're trying to serve?
I mean, again, I feel a lot of understanding, a lot of making sure people are heard, but it's a lot of, at the end of the day, having an appreciation for those people that you're understanding and hearing them. Because as I said, part of it is hearing them. The other part is being able to appreciate what they have and who they are. And I feel like that's something we do really, really well. It's understanding that it doesn't matter how you approach it. It matters that we appreciate what we're approaching and we're putting our hearts into it and making sure that everyone's heart can be touched through it.
I think this is probably a good time for me to talk about what my actual job is now, which I realize somehow we've gotten very far into this podcast without me actually saying what I do. But I work on the talent acquisition marketing team, like Holly mentioned, and our role is to really market all of the different roles and jobs within the Walt Disney Company. So that's everything from Shanghai Disneyland, to the technologists who are building the back end of Disney Plus, to the Imagineers in our theme parks, to Sports Center on ESPN. So all the folks who are in jobs at Disney, we're here to help people understand what it's like to work at Disney, so that folks can start envisioning themselves in roles. So in that, the importance of inclusivity, diversity, equity, inclusion, those principles are critical, because we need to ensure that all people from all backgrounds can envision themselves in a career at the Walt Disney Company. We know from research, we also know from lived experience, that diversity makes us better. We know from a business perspective, but we also know that teams are happier. But the biggest thing is if in our marketing, we are only featuring one type of person from one background, and I will use myself as an example. Let's pretend that all of the marketing for working at Disney was pictures of people who looked like me and only me. Men might look at that and say, oh, I don't think I could work at Disney. Folks of a different ethnic background might look at that and say, oh, I don't look like her. I don't think I could work at Disney. Little girls who look exactly like me would say, I can work at Disney. And we need to ensure that little kids of all backgrounds, adults of all backgrounds and skills, know that they can work at Disney and know that they can belong here. And so that is a lot of what my team does. We go out, we find the different employees around Disney, and we amplify their stories. So whether their background is they started on the college program 10 years ago, or their background is they're brand new to the company after getting a degree late in life, whether their background is that they went to culinary school and now are a chef at one of our theme parks, whatever that story is, we want to tell it in the most authentic way. And to Chris's point, we want to make sure that they feel appreciated and seen in the way that they have experienced their life and their career, and that there is no right or wrong way. And that ultimately the goal is that everyone feels like they can belong at Disney.
If these mics weren't attached to cords, there would be mic drops after every single one of these answers. Man, so good.
I feel like we have just gotten so much wisdom from both of you.
I've gotten wisdom.
Yeah.
From
I mean,
like this is
this was fantastic. Like really, really, truly. So I just want to end. Is there any advice that you would give to someone who is thinking about doing the Disney College program or is, wanting to start a career with Disney? What is that one piece of advice that you would give to them?
The reason I did it is because it was my dream. So my advice is don't always look away from your dreams. Sometimes look into what can turn that dream into your reality and just follow it. Follow your heart through with it.
Similar vein, my advice I always give folks early in their career is be fearless. You don't have a lot to lose. Put in the application. The worst we can say is no. And even if we say no, we'll still be here so you can apply again. And there are people on my team who have applied to multiple different roles and have been told no and now have incredible careers at this company. So don't self-select yourself out of an opportunity that could change your life. Be fearless once you're in your role. When someone says, hey, do you want to do something that's completely out of your job description? If it interests you, say yes. Like try new things, gain those new skills, and lean in and do the things that you never expected you would do, like saying yes to a podcast, because you never know what would happen. And try your very best to not let fear be what holds you back, even though it can be really hard sometimes.
Thank you to you both. I mean, we've received some questions from our friends who have been following over at Official Disney Programs on Instagram.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes. So we're wondering if you can...
Spaceship Earth.
Yes, so we would love for you guys to help out by answering some questions that have been submitted from participants and those who are watching at home. The first one is from Ashlyn. She says, I'm worried about working in Florida in the summer heat. Any tips or advice?
I'm mainly inside because I merchandise. You do get water. You do get your breaks. You're very well taken care of, I know, but I'm mainly inside. The heat's not as horrible once you get used to it. Well,
I was mainly outside in the summer. My program was a really revolved around summer. It felt like it was those hot months. You, like Chris said, you get water. I think sunscreen is really, really important as well. Constant hydration. I'm not going to say you totally get used to it, but your body does acclimate. I remember my family visited me in August. I mean, they were struggling. And I arrived in April. By August, I was like, it's just another day. So you do get used to it, but you want to take care of your body and be proactive about that.
Awesome. Okay. This question comes from Jonah. Jonah asks, what are your favorite Disney College program memories?
I have one of a magical moment I did for this little kid. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. I do creations that's merchandise in Club Cool, which has drinks and ice cream. So I see this little kid not having the greatest day. He comes in with his little infinity gauntlet, and we have ice cream. So I noticed he was having an off day, so I was like, okay, let's get him some ice cream. Let's make him have a great day. I go ahead and let my coordinator know, let my leader know. They were all for it. I get my ice cream. I walk up to him and go, hey, I noticed you seemed a little off. Here's some ice cream to cool you down. Super ecstatic, super happy. Thank you. I'm really excited. Is this really for me? Yeah. Who sent it? Oh, Mickey, of course. Yeah, him himself. And he went, yeah, thank you. And he goes, what's your favorite color? And I say, blue. Oh, awesome. He looks at his infinity gauntlet, rips out the blue stone, hands it over to me. And I look at this kid, I'm like, oh, I can't take that. And I look at the dad and I was like, you paid for that. I can't take that. And the dad lets me know, hey, we lost a couple of stones. We were lucky enough to get them replaced. So we have extra stones. You can go ahead and take it. I was like, oh, all right, thank you. And after that, they left. They were happy. He devoured his ice cream. He didn't even make it out the door. But that's one of my favorite memories, is just making others happy.
So sweet.
Gosh, I love your stories. Oh man, there are like so many memories from my college program. I think that working with the characters, so many of my favorite memories really were focused on guest interactions with these characters and realizing just how powerful the stories we tell at Disney are. I was working with Mickey Mouse one night, and a elderly woman came in, and it was her birthday and she was in her 90s, and I cannot remember the exact age, but she walked in and saw Mickey and just started crying. And when she went up and hugged him, and she literally was like, I've been waiting my whole life to meet you. And you have these moments where you're like, wow, like what we are doing is bigger than us. And, I worked a lot with Tiana in Magic Kingdom. She was one of my favorite characters to work with. I love Tiana. She's just so fun. But seeing so many little Black girls meet Tiana and have that moment. Mulan is another one of my favorites I got to work with. There was a time I was working with Mulan, who is from China, and I am of Chinese descent, but I was working with a family who had adopted their daughter from China. And they got in line, and Mulan walked out to start meeting with families, and the little girl starts like freaking out. And she starts saying over and over, she looks like me, she looks like me, she looks like me. And her parents were saying, and where is Mulan from? And this little girl's like, China. And they're like, and where are you from? And she was like, China. And that child being able to see themselves in the characters that we have, in the stories that we have, in a way that they may not be able to, just based on the environment of their family, and their family going out of their way to give that child that experience. And just working with those characters and seeing that magic in a very tangible and real way. I loved my job, loved it. And you just would always be kind of crying because it was so powerful.
No, because why am I going to cry right now? Oh my God.
No, literally, during specifically the Mulan moment, being Chinese myself, I was like, I am actually going to cry on stage right now. I need to get it together.
Man, moments like those are just powerful. And I mean, the emotion of it all too. It's like, no, I'm going to embrace this moment. I'm going to be in the moment, like you were saying. That's cool. I love that. All right, we got one more from Sammy. And it's, what are things that can help my chances of being accepted to the Disney College program?
Personally, and this just, I applied once. It's just going for it. Because if you don't apply, you're not going to get it. So don't second guess it. Just apply. You don't get it, as mentioned before, keep applying. We're still here. And be genuinely yourself. When you talk to the programs people, be yourself. Because they want you for you. Because you're special. And they want you to bring that out over here and make other people's days feel special.
And I think just some very, very practical advice when you're interviewing, make sure you answer the question. And I know that sounds very basic, but a lot of times folks just get really, really excited and they have things in their head that they want to share with the recruiter. At the end of the interview, the recruiter will ask, is there anything else you want to tell me? And that's when you can make sure that you get your sound bites in. So make sure that if the recruiter is asking a very specific question, you give them the answer to that question. Another thing is, I always like to interview pre-Zoom. So I don't know, are you guys doing phone? Did you do a phone interview? Okay, great. Interview into a mirror and smile at yourself the whole time. At Disney, when we are talking with our guests, we are smiling, we are happy to be here, and that's a genuine thing. We're creating these really amazing interactions, but smiles are audible. We can hear if you're smiling when you're interviewing, so just give yourself a mirror that keeps you accountable, or even do it into your own webcam so you can see yourself, and keep smiling, be happy, be personable. At Disney, we all wear name tags. We're not wearing them right now because we're not on stage at the parks, but we all wear name tags that have our first names on them. First name basis is huge. It was something that Walt also felt very strongly about. I always like to remind people, you can address your recruiter by their first name. If they were in front of you, they'd be wearing their name tag. So you can, let's say Holly's interviewing me. At the end, I can say, thank you so much for your time, Holly. And, that personal touch can make all the difference.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering all of our questions. We always like to end the episode with a little game. So are you guys down to play 20 questions?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
period. So Chris, you and I will be a team. Kayla, you and Josiah will be a team.
Okay.
The category is going to be Disney parks. So think something in the parks, Walt Disney World. And you have 20 questions to try to guess what it is.
Are you thinking of something in Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom?
No.
Are you thinking of an attraction?
No.
Okay. Oh, this is going to test my Walt Disney World knowledge. Okay. Are you thinking of something that is available during all park open hours?
Yes.
Are you? Is it? Okay. Is it something available in Magic Kingdom?
Yes.
Is it a food item?
It's
If you're brave enough. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you put it in your, like, do you eat it?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a popcorn bucket?
No. I feel like that might have confused you, but just
Yeah,
keep
it
going.
did, because when do you not know if you eat something? Okay. Hope you realize how hard this is. Are you scared now?
I'm so scared. I am terrified.
Okay. Is it something that a guest would have to pay for?
Okay.
Not if you're daring enough. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I feel like I should go back a little bit.
Is that allowed?
This is I'm breaking a rule here. This is an establishment. So it's not like it's not like a specific item. It is a location.
So you can't eat it.
Like for
Because you can eat in it. doesn't
yeah,
mean you can
yeah.
eat it.
There we go. Yes.
So at this point, it's how many do I have left, and can I name every food location at Magic Kingdom
There
at
we
that
go.
time? All right.
can narrow it
Is
by
it
cuisine
a
type.
location in Tomorrowland?
No.
Is it a location in Frontierland?
No.
Is it a location in Fantasyland?
No.
Main Street?
Yes.
God, okay. We have 10 questions to get through all of Main Street. Is it Casey's Corner?
Yes. So when you said, "Can you eat it?" I was like,
You can try.
Yeah.
I got that in 11. That's like
That's
not
really
terrible for the
good.
whole 4 parts.
No, not at all. All right, Chris, you ready?
No.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna telepathically. I'm thinking of something. Okay, go ahead and guess.
All right. Is it in Epcot?
No.
Magic Kingdom?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, the one I don't work at. Is it a ride?
No.
Is it a show?
No.
Is it the castle?
No.
You guys' like finger counting is so
No, it's-
stressful.
Oh, no pressure. All right. Are people allowed in?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Is it the Princess Hall?
No.
Oh. Is it the Emporium?
No.
Is it in one of the lands?
Well, no. No.
Is it the partner statue?
No.
That's a good guess for not being in any of the lands.
You're in the territory, though.
I'm so scared.
You're like in the right vicinity.
Is it Main Street?
No, but you're so close.
I'm so scared.
You have so many questions left.
I know. All right.
It might be kind of niche. I fear.
Is it
Maybe
the
not.
casting door in Main Street?
Whoa, no, but that's a
guess.
good one. I should have thought of that.
Okay. All right. Is it one of the shops?
No. I'm going to communicate it to you telepathically.
Is it the meet and greet with Mickey in the entrance?
No.
The railroad.
No.
5 left.
Why? Well, tell me that. The ice cream shop in the corner.
No.
The grass patch where you
It's
walk.
the hot grass.
So stressful. It's okay. It's fine.
That was my own bias being like, I love the hub grass. Surely everyone else does. And everyone knows what it is and will guess it immediately.
We're almost there.
You did good.
We're almost there.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
There are no losers here.
No.
There are no losers here. Well, that is all we have for today. That was so much fun. I feel like I'm walking out of this older and wiser. So thank you both so much for your time and sharing your experiences with us. This was great.
Well, I hope we didn't age you too much.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for having me.
That was a really good time.
This is a nice refresher from Epcot.
We'll have to go visit you at Epcot sometime.
Please, creations. Never know what time, but if you go right in the middle of the day, I'll probably be there.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sounds good. And for everybody watching and listening at home, make sure you follow @official Disney Programs on Instagram. We'll see you next time.